Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here at Nexus's headquarters in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and today we have a great guest, Mr. Kyle Seyboth, broker owner of New England Century 21 offices.
Yes, sir.
Nice to see you,
Nice
Kyle.
to see you as well.
We got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time, and the first question, probably on everybody's mind, is how in the hell did you switch from Keller Williams to Century 21? Like, give us some insight on what happened, how you made that decision, and things of that nature.
So I've been kind of in talks with them for about 4 or 5 years, Century 21, and really wanted to understand what their mission was, what they were looking for as far as like their future plans, their outlook, and vibed well with upper management. So the CEO, the COO, we met multiple times over that period of time and really had the same vision of bringing back the broker concept that adds value to the agents. Not just the concept of bring an agent, leave them alone, and lower the fees, right? That was almost that race to zero. So we wanted to really say, okay, let's buck that trend and let's reverse it and add value. So that's what I was looking to do. So I was just looking for the right brand to kind of, commingle that with.
And how long were you with Keller Williams?
I was there for 9 years.
And positive experience?
Loved it. Keller Williams, 9 years. Everything was fine. This was not a move from me away from Keller Williams. This was a move with Century 21. It was a partnership that I formed with them. They brought me on to be broker owner, have autonomy to kind of go out there and acquire and add with organic and inorganic growth on the brokerage side, as well as continue to sell at a super high level. And then the biggest kicker at the end was they brought me in to coach all their realtors across the country.
Wow.
So we're working on a 16-week program now that'll come out in 2021. So really excited about that.
And you're going to be coaching. You're going to be going around the United States giving speeches, or how's that going to work?
So we started, we're walking before we run. So the first program that we're doing is a 16-week, 45-minute per week session that's going to be virtual. So it'll be a virtual coaching session every week. With every 3 weeks, we'll do a fourth week of kind of like a recap to go over everything. And the goal of it is it's mindset driven and it's production driven. So we want to increase agents' production at the same time getting their mindset right. So I feel like I'm pretty good at that and can add a lot of value there for a lot of agents. I've been through it. Yeah. I started doing, first year I did 7. Last year I did over 500, so I've kind of done that full gamut, and I think I can really help people increase production.
Okay, another thing, and you're probably wondering at home, is all the time on Facebook I see, I'm now with this agency, I'm now switching to here. Tell us about that. Why do realtors switch brokerages? Like, that's a question I always think, like, why are you switching? Isn't that harder? You got to change your business card, your signs, your approach, your people, your network?
Right. No, I agree. So, in my opinion, there's 2 reasons. One theory that I have is it's similar to why an athlete switches his sneakers. He feels like, or she feels like, they're going to change their sneakers because that's going to change their performance. Mm-hmm. You're still going to perform the way you do now, no matter what sneakers you have on, right? But when we're young and we're coming up and we're going through it's the sneakers, it's the shorts, it's the jersey, it's this, it's that. So unfortunately, a lot of it is people feel like a new name, a new brand will change who they are. I know it's not going to change who I am. I know that it's going to allow me to do, because I'm going to change some of the things that I'm doing to help me grow. Right. So the wrong reason is to change just to change. Change is not always good, right? Good change is good, but changing to change and going sideways, it's not going to help anything. So the other end of the spectrum is they may be in a brokerage where they're not getting the support, the growth, the stability, or even, the outlook that they want. So that's another big reason. So if that's the case, it makes sense, right? If you're going to go somewhere where they're going to provide you those things, they'll give you that support, they'll give you the leads, they'll give you the power to do more business, totally makes 100% sense. But if you're just switching names on a business card, it doesn't make sense, right? So what we're looking to do, and my mantra here, is to provide leads, to give a good lead generation program for our agents, to give agents the ability to have one-on-one training with me, to give them the ability to have access to kind of everything that we're doing, and help them as little or as much as they need to give them to boost their production.
Got it. So are you still handling any listings yourself? Are you kind of moving away from listed by Kyle, call me for a showing?
I'm handling everything.
You're still
I'm
on,
still-
you're still
I'm-
on the ground.
This is why I firmly believe that it is a better environment if the agents that work with me in the brokerage see that I'm doing the same thing they're doing.
Respect.
If I can't tell you to do something that I'm not doing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, the same with the coaching. I will be one of the only coaches in the country that is still an active high producer.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. I want to keep it that way. I love to sell. I love to help buyers. I love to help sellers. There's plenty of business to go around. This year's probably the worst year ever. So this year, there's not a lot of inventory, so there's not a ton of business because everyone's looking at the same stuff.
Right.
This is short term. This is gonna, this too shall pass. This will go. We'll go
When
beyond
do you
this.
think things will kind of kick back up and get back to normal?
The end of next year. Oh no! Stop that! I think the end of next year we'll see a turn down. I think you'll see it starting to normal February, March next year. I think we're gonna have the best year in real estate ever, 2021. Best year I've ever seen. Best year. You're gonna see inventory go up. You're gonna see prices stabilize. Demand will still be there and rates will still be low. Only thing that throws that off is if we have a second round of COVID and we have an election that really does turmoil to the overall markets.
Right.
Other than that, I think next year's the best year ever. Then you'll see things slow down.
Have you started to see, and I know it's still kind of early, but have you started to see the effects from COVID on some of your sellers or people that say, Kyle, I need to sell this immediately or I can't pay for it? Like, are we too soon?
It's too early.
We're not there.
It's going to happen. So my concern there is that will hit the multifamily owners. Why will it hit the multifamily owners? A lot of these buyers relied on the rent
Sure.
to make the mortgage payment. What happened in the end of July is that stimulus went away. That $600 is gone. These folks that now can't pay the first or second floor, that can't pay when the owner lives on the third, these folks will become in default. Forbearance is fine for now, but that forbearance will then turn to default. And that's when that's why I said the end of next year. You'll start to see that hit the end of next year. I think it's too early. You still have to go through the process. Banks can't even really foreclose. There's less foreclosures now from stuff in the pipeline. Evictions are hard right now.
Too soon.
It's too soon. Too soon. The dust needs to settle. It's too soon. So, but I do think that the reverse. So basically, COVID has actually had a reverse kind of reaction to the markets. Is that the inventory is so low that demand and pricing has went through the roof.
Yeah.
It's insane. So people are bidding 50, 60 grand over asking price, still not getting the house because COVID's created this supply issue that's so vast and so immense in Rhode Island and New England that people have no choice. If you want to buy, you have to overpay.
Right.
Those are the same people that I'm concerned about in 18 months if the market turns down. Not only are they underwater now, per se, but in 18 months they're going to be severely underwater.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I didn't look at it that way.
What you're going to see is those people, even if it appraises, right, you're at the max. You're kind of tapped out. What I say to my buyers, look, we need to be on the same page. If you need to sell this house in 3 years, you should not buy this house. Because there's no guarantee that, first of all, I don't think the market's going to keep going up. So you're not going to make money on it. And by the time you pay me, you lose. Second of all, if the market goes down, now you're taking a loss and you're in a short sale situation. So unless you can tell me you plan on being there 10 or more years, I would say you need to be really careful. And too many people aren't looking at it that way. And you're going to see a disaster at some point.
Wow.
It's a really scary situation. You've got that. You've got commercial space, which is really tough, which I figured you would get into. And then you have the supply issue. So you've got pricing too high. You've got lack of supply. Commercial rentals can't pay. Residential rentals will stop paying at some point. It's going to somewhat, trickle down and be a domino effect.
But do you feel that your profession is always insulated no matter what's going on, or do you feel that you too will go through some type of ebbs and flows?
I'll be fine. I'll do better on a down market.
Got it.
If I had a market where there was more inventory and it was a down market, we would be crushing it right now.
Interesting.
We're fine. Like, again, 500 units is fine, that's cute, but in my opinion, like,
Cute.
I could get 3 buyers a house a day just because I have such a big network of buyers, and I love to help buyers and sellers, but I just don't have the inventory. I can't find anything, and I think that's shared across the board with other brokers.
Interesting.
But I think a down market I would do well. Now, values will come lower, so your overall volume will be a little lower, but transactions will be way more. Think about this. Last 6 months, all my auction buyers that I work with haven't bought anything. Last 6 months, the foreclosure market's been abysmal. Last 6 months, the off-market stuff has been 1/10 of what I normally see. So that's a big part of my business, and I'm still trending close to where I was last year.
Interesting.
So that to me is a positive.
How about this? Your phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many texts have you got today? Can you check? Since this morning, since you woke up, how many people, different people, have sent you a message?
Well, since we started taping 9 minutes ago, I had 25 and 11 voicemails.
25 different people?
Different people.
Oh, shit.
So since this morning, it keeps going. Since this morning,
You're only at like 1:30.
no, I'm not kidding. Look at this. We didn't even get to. We're still at 12.
Dude, that's like 200.
Oh, easy,
Easy.
easy.
Who's the first person that texted you today?
Let's see, 6:13 a.m.
No
And the
courtesy.
No, the last one last night was 11. So 11 last night and 6.
So people give you like 7 hours of sleep or 7 hours of like.
Not even, because I'll stop texting back at 11, so that's why I won't show that, and I'll go to emails. I usually do my emails like 11 to like 12.
So the whole day will go by and you kind of stay off.
No, I have someone doing for me.
Okay.
I have an assistant that does
Got
my
it.
email. What she does, which is nice, is she'll handle anything that she can handle. Then she'll put them in my folder, stuff that I need to handle.
Got it.
So she's going to answer a majority, probably 70% she can handle.
And then give you big stuff for things that she don't know.
30% that she just doesn't feel comfortable with
Yeah.
will go in my folder. And then what I'll normally do is like, those need to I need to think. So I need to do it at night when no one's bothering me. You can't answer that stuff in the day. It's too hard.
I feel like I give bad answers to people between like 11 and 3 because the fucking mail guy comes
Yeah.
in and like it's just, I'm rushing and then I'll read it later and I'm like, man, I didn't give that guy enough thoroughness or like.
I do that a lot.
I'll send another email.
You have to solidify what you meant to say.
'cause
Like,
I felt
oh,
like,
because you're short with people.
yeah.
You're just like, I can't. I just can't do it. There's no way I can give you that much time right now. But as long as you get a response and you circle back,
Yeah,
it all
it's
makes
legit.
sense. That's how I look at it. Like, let's get a response, and then if it's hard, I'll deal with it later.
For sure.
If it's easy, let's knock it out. Let's just bang it out. I don't ever ever. Very rarely go to bed with any open emails,
Mhm.
any open texts or voicemails.
Any pending shit you get.
Gone, out the window.
And what do you, not to cut you off, but for those out there that are just starting the business or getting involved in real estate, what do you think is an acceptable time frame to get back to somebody? Emilio, my good friend, says, if you don't hear from me within half a day, I fucked up.
Half a day.
So like if you message
What are we talking
me,
about, text or phone call or email? I'll give you my thoughts.
just like maybe an interested client wants to know why they should hire Kyle to sell their house.
10 minutes.
So you think 10 minutes is when they should hear from you?
From the time I see it, 10 minutes. 5 minutes. From the time I see it, 5 minutes. If I respond, hi, anything, 5 minutes, you should hear from me.
You hear that?
5 minutes.
And if they're taking hours and hours, that client
Go on to
probably
someone else.
gone.
Go on. And I get it.
Sure.
But now that's if from the time I actually acknowledge the conversation. Now, if I'm in a meeting, I can't get back to you in 5.
Like,
Somebody calls me right now, I'm not getting back to you in 5 minutes.
Mhm.
When I get out of here, I go through my texts, right? At the end, once I respond with something, you'll hear from me within 5 minutes because I won't open it until I know I can respond to you.
Correct.
I will leave it unopened until I know I can get back to you.
Hmm.
But I still get it. If they go somewhere else because you don't get back to them, we're in society. It's what have you done for me lately, and it's fast. You got to
Yeah.
be fast. It's all responsiveness.
What has changed since you started 9 years ago the most in the real estate business?
Way more people.
More
Way
realtors.
more realtors.
So how do you, somebody's interested in becoming a realtor, how do you kind of let them know that, hey, you got, what, 6,000
6,000 in Rhode Island alone.
roughly?
Yeah, 5,500, 6,000.
How do you break in?
I think the way you break in is you join a team structure that provides leads. If I were to start over from today and I started from scratch, I'd join a team and I'd take whatever split that is to get leads.
Got it.
Because you can't afford them on your own and you need to be built up. This is the only way that it works. You just start doing family and friends, that's okay, but the well runs dry fast.
Yes.
You need to have that inorganic growth, and you can't support it because you don't have the funding. So you need someone to support it and pay for it.
What's your biggest pet peeve in the realtor world?
Mine is the argumentativeness of a lot of agents. And I see
Give me an example. No names, but
I'll
just
give you
me
a
an
quick example.
Yeah.
You call me right, and this happens to me probably 5 times a day. My showing instructions for every listing say, please do not call, please email. It's like caps, like you can't miss it. It's capital letters, it's big, huge font. Do not call.
Call you or anybody.
Call me. Greg called me. Greg's from Remax. Hey, Greg, it's Kyle. Whatever. You call. Hey, Greg says, can we see 123 Main Street tomorrow at 12? I say, Greg, awesome. Can you just do me a huge favor? Can you send an email? We'll respond. We'll get back to you. We got to check with the seller. We'll find out and we'll get back to you. Perfect answer, right? I would love to help you. I'm driving right now. I'm in an appointment. I can't write anything down. Send a quick email. We'll get back to you. No problem. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yep.
Greg responds and says, what do you think? You're too good for me? And I say, I'm sorry, what? What do you think? You can't just, you got to be difficult? What's the problem? You can't just write it down? I'm like, no, Greg, I can't because I told you I'm driving and I really need you to write an email. Right? Could you please write an email? And then you just keep going, and then I get going, and then it turns into something that I don't need it to be.
Right.
Why are we going there?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest thing is like, if Greg wants me to set up a showing on his listing by Morse code,
Mm-hmm.
I should do Morse code
For sure.
to get in Greg's listing.
Mhm.
It's Greg's listing.
Mhm.
I'm not doing it to be difficult. I'm doing it to be efficient. It's the only way that I can keep track. I don't have one listing. I can't just say, oh, boom, my calendar's wide open. I need to have a staff member help me set these listings up. We have to contact the seller.
Right.
We have to contact the tenants. The other thing with listings, multifamilies, you need 48-hour notice. You need it, 48-hour notice. I have agents that call me all the time on a 3-unit, want to get tomorrow at 8 a.m. First of all, tenants don't wake up that early. Right or wrong?
True.
They're not up.
It's true.
They're not up. So I already know that's not happening.
Mhm.
So my response is no, that time doesn't work. Second of all, right, we need to give the proper notice. And they'll respond like, well, what do you mean? Just go, just go. Like, that's not how this works. We can't just go. The other response is, okay, Tuesday at 10. They say they want to do Tuesday at 10. The tenants may not agree to that.
Right.
I can't say yes because they're like, well, it's 48 hours notice, so it should work. Like,
Yeah.
come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, we've got to be better than that and understand. And when I do it to someone else, I get it. I'm like, all right, cool. Can we do Tuesday at 12? And they say, no, we can't do it on Wednesday. Fine.
Sure.
Fine, we'll be there Wednesday. But here's another problem that I see. Let's do that dialogue, right? Greg, can I do Tuesday at 12? And you say, no, Tuesday at 12 is not available. Wednesday at 3 is available. And I say, awesome, Greg. My clients are available, but I'm already booked at 3. Do you mind if I send them? I've showed them a bunch of things. I just need them to get in. What would you say?
Go right ahead.
No, that's not the answer I get. No, you have to be here.
For
So
what?
you just told me you can't do the time that I can do, and then the time you can do, I have another obligation. I already have an appointment. I can't be there, but you won't let my client in. So now I have to scramble, get someone else to go and cover and try to figure out what to do. It's like, why? Why are we doing that to each other? Someone asked me that, send them all. I tell them don't even come. Like, even if you can come, go do something
Go
fun.
home, go to
I'm
the
like,
library.
Go do something fun. For real, like, do something
Yeah.
fun. Because it's the time that I could do and my tenants, and it's not fair to you.
Yep.
Go do something fun.
Is
I
there
will
like
let-
a realtor law or code of ethics that says you have to represent or be there with your
No,
client?
no, it's
Like-
just people just want to be difficult.
Got it.
And I find it happens a lot to me, and it's like, why are we doing this? Like, I can't be there. I already have another appointment.
So you guys are almost like eating each other. It's like, we all want to close. That's the goal.
That's what I try to
Why
tell.
are we going further away from a closing?
That's what I try to tell people, and it's, well, the response I receive is, I'm here to represent my buyer or my seller.
Right.
But so am I. My buyer wants to buy your house.
Mm-hmm. Let them in.
Correct.
So do you feel that people are just hating on you?
I don't even want to go, like, I don't even want to tackle that. I just feel that we don't have the common, I don't know if it's common sense or the understanding, the common courtesy and understanding that, hey, look, only way we sell these things is if we get people in. And I know from my stuff, it's hard to get in some of these houses.
Sure.
But if I can get in a multifamily and you have an appointment already and your client wants to see it, I will meet them there. Matter of fact, I tell some people, I'll do the appointment just for you and you don't even have to go. Like, I'll make a special appointment for the agent and they don't even have to show up. I'll be there.
Go do something fun.
Right, go do something fun. Because the time wasn't the time they wanted.
Right.
And I'm cognizant of that. But it's all the time. I got to fight and argue, and it's like, why? What are we doing? That to me is very frustrating.
Good points.
You know, I think that's one thing that here locally, if we can figure that out.
Get along.
The other one that I see a lot, we're looking at a vacant house. You own a property, it's vacant, right? We've got a closing tomorrow, and I see this all the time. The client can only do a walkthrough tomorrow at 10. Closing's at 2. Cool. My client can do the walkthrough. We reach out to the other broker, it's vacant. We say, hey, can we do tomorrow at 10? They say no. Can you please leave a key? Nope, it has to be at 8 a.m. Well, my client's working at 8. Too bad, it has to be at 8. Like, that's not, and then they get mad at me. I'm like, but my client's working at 8. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
So you see the frustration that I feel?
Not solution-focused activities.
Right. It's argumentative, it's combative. But for what? Like, what are we doing? What's the purpose?
What's the incentive?
There is none. Just to be difficult. That's the part that I think we could do a lot better at. And, you know, I think we need to understand that it's not as easy as just we go whenever we want.
Right.
You can't, like, think about it. You do a lot of rental stuff. Can you just show up at a tenant's place and say, we just want to do an inspection? Just felt like walking in.
We'll get kicked.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And people who do multis, they don't understand. Like agents that don't handle a lot of multis.
Got it. It's a whole other animal.
It's a different animal. It's a different
And
animal.
they don't want you in there to begin with because they might be homeless if the
Correct.
new guy wants to kick them out. So you're going in to sell something from underneath somebody that doesn't know who you are, and you expect them to be like, oh yeah, come on in. You want to see my bedroom too?
Right. And yeah, you want to. It's so nice that if you want to get me out and vacated, it'd be perfect. I can go live somewhere worse.
Crazy.
Right. And now you add COVID on top of that and forget it. You know, so now that's even harder because I have one right now. It's a single in Smithfield, and it's a tenant. And we did open house. We had about 10, 15 people, and the tenant was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not comfortable because of COVID. We're going to shut this down. We can't show it anymore. So now the house can't get sold. So the seller is like irate, and I'm like, dude, I can't go there.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to play with that. Like, if he's not comfortable for COVID, game's over.
So let me ask you this, right? We got a couple more minutes here. Customer service, right? I find that some realtors spend so much time being super friendly and super, you know, just dragging things on. What's your strategy there? What's your approach there? Are you just down to business, friendly, fair, firm, or are you not that way? Like, what's your overall game plan? How do you treat people? What's the kind of the Seyboth way? Because I like when somebody is just right down the middle with me. I don't care. Don't ask me about my kid. Don't ask me about my dog. Like, just give me that.
Shoot it straight. So the way that I operate is as a chameleon. Excuse me. And what I mean by that is every client's different.
Yep.
Certain clients, we can be in and out of a house in 5 minutes. And that's what they want. That's what they're okay with.
Yep.
Certain clients need to be handheld a little more. And that's okay. We'll give you that.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on the client relationship that I have. Now, I will shoot it straight. Like, if it's a client, like if you and I went out and I've showed you a bunch of houses, we're going in the house, we're looking at it, we're leaving.
Yep.
That's it. We're there to find you a house. The goal is to get you a house, right? But at the end of the day, if you say, if it's much more of a, soft qualitative versus quantitative situation,
Yeah.
then we're going to treat it that way.
Okay.
So the way that I operate is understand your target, and your target as a client. Understand them, right? Understand what they like, what they want, what they desire, how they operate, who they are, what type of demographic, what type of age group they're in, what works for them. Too many agents they're not flexible. So some of my clients only want to text. So why would I call you?
Got it.
You only want to text. Some of them don't want to call.
Do you ask them that up front? What
I just know.
Oh, you just
I can
know.
just gauge it. Like I gauge, like some of the older clients will not text.
Like you text them, then they call you.
Correct. So I already know, like, this is going to be a phone call every time.
Got it.
The younger people, it's all text. They don't want to talk on the phone. So it's all text. So I have to adapt to that.
Chameleon.
It's
a good way to look at it.
And that's been one thing that I've done for 9 years is say, hey, look, who am I working with? What do they like? And then be a chameleon with it.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
That's a good question. So I have a new goal. So my goal 9 years ago, so my goals have changed. They always evolve, right? So starting out the first year, my goal was to have enough money to go on an extra vacation. That was why I did real estate, right?
Got
So I
it.
did real estate to come in and get a commission to go on an extra vacation every year. Year 5 is when my goals changed. I started getting on the leaderboard at Keller Williams, and my goal was to be Real Trend's top agent in the country or the world or whatever. I finally did that. So that was a big step for me. 2019, I was top agent in the whole country. That was a huge step. A lot of people here said it would never happen, and it was.
Define that. What does it mean, or what threshold did you reach that made you the top
So
agent?
I did the most transactions in 2019 amongst all agents in the country. 517 transaction sides.
So no other person did that was named on that PNS besides you.
Correct. 517 sides. So that was number one in the country last year. And that to me was a big goal because that was something that when I started to get kind of on that leaderboard and scoreboard, it was something that was obtainable but yet competitive, right? So let's go. Like, this is something we had to strive to. So that was 5 years ago, and I finally got that. The big evolution there was I had a big chip on my shoulder of proving people wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So that last 9 years was to prove people wrong. The next 10 is going to be to prove people right.
Mm.
And what that is to take the support that I have and really the love and support behind me to prove them right that anything is possible. And the next 10 years are going to be even bigger than the last 10. So that's the game plan. So my next goals really are to have the triple crown in real estate. So number one, to be the top coach in the entire world in real estate. And that's probably a 10-year goal. Number two, to own the most brokerages and be the biggest broker by GCI, probably between 5 and 7 years. And number three, to remain a high-level salesperson along that ride.
Wow.
So it's what I call the triple crown. So the first one I already achieved, which was top, number one, Real Trends. The other two are TBD. So
Legit.
that's what we're looking to do. And timeline in my life, it actually works out well. 37 now, so by 47, if I can achieve those goals, I'd say that's pretty powerful.
And how often do you say, all right, I'm taking the weekend off hanging out with the wife and kids?
Never.
Is that a sacrifice to get to these goals?
Yeah, I mean that is a sacrifice. I mean, take a full weekend off to just do nothing and hang out. No, I haven't done that in years.
9 years.
Yeah, probably 9 years. Probably 9 years. Well, think about it. The first 5, I was working full time something else. So
What was the something else?
I was in finance. I worked in Boston for about until 4 years ago. I was working in finance, so doing both. I did 191 deals part time.
What was the finance job though? Like,
I was an equity analyst.
okay.
Up in Boston at a hedge fund, and then came down here, got the same job at Washington Trust at their corporate headquarters, and then did this part time.
And then this,
That's what happened. My last year, I did 191 transactions here, and still worked at Washington Trust. So it was actually the PBN. So was it Providence Business News?
yeah.
So they did an article on me while I was at Washington Trust, and all the people at Washington Trust read it.
They're like, that guy's over there.
They were like, hold on a minute. I'm sorry, wait, time out. They're like, it's you? I was like, whoops.
You didn't tell him.
No.
You're that humble.
Yeah, I never said a word. I just kind of kept it, it was like what I did out of my free, outside of work, I felt like was my own,
Yeah, your own stuff.
I could do whatever I want, and they didn't like it, so I had to make a decision.
Gone.
So they gave me like 6 months to decide, and I made a decision.
You made the right choice.
I mean, life's full of decisions, man. I mean, there's decisions every day. I mean, we can decide to sleep, we could decide to get up, we could decide to go to work, we could decide to take a weekend off.
Yep.
Every decision has an action-reaction, right? So your action is your decision, the reaction or the result is kind of what comes from that decision.
So that's the last thing I want to ask you is, what advice would you give the audience at home? Not just real estate, not just career, but as a person. What motto or what kind of gumption would you give them to wake up each day with? Like, what should they be focusing on? What should they be avoiding?
So that's a great question. I think the one thing that I still struggle with, and if I can finally get there and be at peace with this, I think anyone that can be at peace with this can fulfill anything they want. Don't care what anyone else thinks. Do you. Do you, but don't be selfish about it. There's a thin line there, right? So when I say do you, like, focus on what you want, what you need, what you desire, and make that happen. Don't focus, and a lot of people have parents who tell them they have to get a 9-to-5, or have to go do this, or you should do this, or whatever, have a family or not have a family, or whatever that is, whatever you want, figure that out and go for it. Don't do what society wants, don't do what your professors want, don't do what your parents want, don't do what your brother wants, your sister wants, because that's the easy, a lot of people, misery loves company, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people want you to do what they want, because they want you to feel the same way they feel. I've had a number of people say to me that the life you're living is a movie, it's not real. Why? Why? Because you don't do it? Like, why do you say that? Like, that's not, why? Why would, you know what I mean? Like, why?
Yep.
Why? Because I don't go to work at 9 and come home at 5? Like, that's just the lifestyle that I have right now.
Yep.
And it's not that I do anything flashy, it's just that, I'm doing things that most people didn't think was possible.
Yep.
And that's surreal to some people,
Yep.
but if you can take that mentality of, I don't care, I'm not listening to what anyone else is saying, I'm going to stay focused, I think you can do anything. Make sense?
100%.
So that would be my biggest advice.
But to say, like, all right, like, my dad's very influential to me. So he says, Greg, blah, blah, blah. I take it into consideration, though. I put it in my pocket. So what I got from you is, like, sometimes you got to push everybody, even your closest asides, to get to where maybe your destiny is, which is hard for some people. Like, for me not to listen to my dad, it's like, that guy's 60, he's been through 60 years, he's got a family, he's got a career. How do I discount that, but also not be an asshole about it? So it's kind of a very thin line to get to where you want to be and keep your people close.
It's almost impossible. That's why I said it's real. That's why I said is if you can come to peace with that and figure that out. I mean, I was told never to quit my full-time job because it's a great job and you had benefits and you had all these things. And this is coming from my family, my parents. They were like, no, you can't quit that. I'm 20 whatever years old. Like, you can't quit that. Like, this is what you went to college for. Yeah, I did. But this is something I have a passion for. But people don't understand that. That's hard to explain to someone that doesn't understand that.
Doesn't have it.
So you have to almost disassociate yourself from any conversations revolving that. If you can disassociate those conversations and put it and take it with a grain of salt, you can do well. If you can't, you're unfortunately never going to live your full potential.
True.
I regret it every day for 10 years when I worked at the bank.
Wow.
I watched the clock from 9 o'clock to 5 o'clock every single day. And I'll never forget, I never want to do that again.
Good.
I would go in 9, it was 9:05, it was 9:10, it was 9:30. You get it? Like every second.
Like school.
School, it was like, now the day ends and it's like midnight. And I'm like, holy what? What the hell just happened?
I didn't have lunch.
Yeah, dude, I haven't eaten. But it's like, I don't care. I'll sacrifice eating.
Yeah.
Because at least I like what I do. I love what I do. I love the competition, the drive, the ability to do. There's no ceiling. I can open 100 brokerages tomorrow. Why not? Right? I have that potential and that opportunity, but at the end of the day, I could do nothing.
Yep.
we all have the choice, and we have to live with our choices. And there's a lot of hard choices in life you're going to make. And it's not easy, and it's not going to be easy. But the people behind you, if they don't agree, it makes it even harder. That's why so many people have never reached their full potential.
Once again, everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Rhode Island Business Spotlight with Kyle Seyboth. Kyle,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate
great
it.
job.
Thank you.
Best of luck. We're going to be following you.
Thank you.
And if anybody at home has a question for you, how do they reach out?
Yeah, I mean, any questions, just call me or text me. My number is simple. It's 508-726-3492. Anytime. I help people all the time.
And any advice, like if they're asking something other than real estate, you're free to give them any.
I'm free to give any advice at all. I've been through a lot and continue to go through a lot.
Awesome.
So I'm here.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Once again, folks, Greg Rice here at Nexus, your property managed.